Hey, everybody, welcome to Hungry for More. I'm Robin, this is Jennifer, and we're happy to be together here for this podcast. It's always so much better when we're together.
Always way easier.
Yes. Today, we're going to talk about perfectionism when it comes to how we're eating and how it leads to excuse-ism. It's a word Jennifer made up yesterday.
I coined it.
Yep, she coined it. And but it really does go hand in hand. And we do see this a lot in our coaching. And we're always happy to bring you guys the things that we're coaching on because guaranteed it's run across your mind or maybe impacting you right now. So let's get into that. So what happens with perfectionism in regards to how we're eating is think about all the articles that you see, the reels, all the stuff coming your way telling you about, this is the most important things you need to prioritize. This is the best for you to eat, right? Avoid these altogether. And there's just so much coming at us that it can feel like, gosh, unless I can keep up with all of this, I really can't be fully healthy. So let's just first talk about the perfectionism around it, and then we'll talk to how it leads to excusing them. But what do you have to say about the perfectionism that we tend to get into, that mindset? Perfectionism is a mindset.
Yeah. Well, we end up turning into this all or nothing, right? I'm going on vacation, so I can't eat the way I eat at home. So I'm going to not worry about anything.
Yep.
Or, and not even the things that I have control over, right? Which is crazy because I'm finding as my children are leaving home, we're leaving home a lot more. And it's like sometimes last summer, I felt like we were gone more than we were home. Yeah, we were gone a lot. And so it's this really big, it rolls into everything. It rolls into everything. We hear it all the time. Well, when I get back home, I'm going to get on. Or, well, I couldn't do it perfect. I didn't want to do it. I couldn't eat everything organic. So who cares? Right?
Yeah.
It's just one thing after the next. So an example I'll give for me is I deep dive. I study nutrition a lot. I when I see those articles, I read them, but then I go find one on the alternate perspective. I like to read both perspectives because both of them have some truth in it, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
But one thing that I have learned and I know to be true is like wild caught fish are really good for you. They are so good for you. They have so many health benefits, and I can't stand it. I have tried. People are like, well, you haven't had it the way I've cooked it, or you haven't had it this way. I've gone to the finest dining places. I've had the worst. People have tried fish tacos, broiled, grilled, like any way you want. They try to get me to love fish. So it's easier for me to tell people I'm allergic to it because then they try and force it down me. I don't like it. Even though I know all the health benefits and I know it's available to me and I know I can get it. I love fishing, ironically, but if that were the case, and I know it was good for me, and I know I should put it in my diet every so often,
Yeah.
And I'm not, it would be real easy to say, oh, well, I guess I shouldn't worry about it. I can't do all the healthy stuff. But instead, I found a way to compensate, and I can get my omegas in a different way, and I can get those fatty, good oils in a different way. And there's not probably anything in me that's ever going to make me like fish, period.
Yeah.
There's very few foods I can say that about, by the way, but this one, anybody who knows me knows this.
Yeah. So what we tend to do is we take something like we see that thing that we're like, oh man, it's so good for me. I think it's recommended you have it once or twice a week.
I think
even,
so.
And they list all the benefits and that. And when we're consuming this type of information and material, it can feel like we're inspired to do the thing. And we feel like, yes, I want the benefits that they just listed. But whether it's a preference thing of like, I truly don't like it, or we don't have access to it, maybe financially or whatever it is, we tend to feel like we're missing out. We're telling ourselves we should be doing this, but we're missing out because we're not for whatever reason. And that's where excuse-ism can come in a little bit, because we kind of just separate ourselves from that possibility of still being healthy and vibrant. And we're like, well, I'm not doing these things that I should be doing. And until that I can meet all of these expectations of myself, that's when a lot of the excuses come in for the things that we can control. Here's another example. We just coached on this the other night. So we have a client that we adore, and she was talking about like, I hate vegetables. I'm really struggling with this because I hate vegetables and I know how good they are for me. Well, then we asked, okay. Well, then she said, I do like some. So then we asked, just let's list some of the ones you like. She listed at least 10.
Yeah.
Right. Which I was kind of surprised. But the perfectionist mindset that can come in because she's seeing and consuming all this information, right? That you should like all the vegetables and have a great variety in your diet. And you should have these colors and this variety. And we can kind of get stuck on like, but I don't like those things over there, or that doesn't work in my budget. And we feel like unless we can go all in on it, that we're missing out and that it's not really worth it. So we're not going to get the benefits of things that we want. And so we talked about, and the excuse-ism that can come in is that we kind of shut down to what we do like and what we do have access to and what is available to us. We kind of just shut down because we're in that all or nothing thinking. If I can't do it perfectly, well, then I am just going to have whatever's easier and whatever's just like faster and tastier and whatever.
Right.
So,
and sometimes on that, it's funny because you also, I think when people think of vegetables, they think of really probably just 10 or 15.
yeah,
Right. If you go into, we have a fancy schmancy grocery store here that I think has every vegetable under the sun.
oh yeah,
Like, but sometimes even just saying, and I should have told her this, and now I'm going to, sometimes saying you don't like vegetables means just exploring things you've maybe never even heard of.
right.
And having fun with them.
Right. Yeah. So that even that mindset kind of shut her down to what she does like, or trying things that she hasn't tried that she may like, right? It keeps you very limited. So, that is an example, right, of how thinking that way is going to limit you, where what we were able to do is go back over her list and show her all the varieties of things she does like that she can incorporate. And it just like, it multiplied. But when you think you're supposed to like everything or to eat all these things that you've read about, you're going to feel like you're missing out. And when you feel that way, you tend to not do the things that you can and have control over that are healthy, that support you. So watch for that. If you're finding that you're making excuses, kind of track back and see if it's because you have a perfectionistic idea or expectation of yourself about that thing, and you're either you don't have access or you don't like it and you don't want to do that thing, and you're just feeling like unless you do, you can't have what you want. And so the excuses come in.
Right. And watch for the chaos. I told Robin, that's my favorite word right now, because it feels like so many things are in chaos, right? So much information, it's almost meant to confuse you, is what it feels like. And so I was, one of my nieces, she has a young family, and she said to me, it's just so confusing because I can go and study and read and be like, feed your children this, don't feed them this, do this, don't do this. And I can't afford organic, but this people are saying, why would you want to feed your children poison?
Yeah.
Now you're feeling guilty if you feed them a carrot that's not organic, right?
Yeah.
So what we're saying to you is you can still do everything within the means. If your budget doesn't allow you to buy certain things, there's still other things you can buy. It doesn't mean don't do anything.
Right. Or that example you're sharing with the vegetables. And I did this. If I can't do, I'm feeling shamed for poisoning my children. So then I'm not buying the non-organic stuff. Then I'm not buying any vegetables at all. And we're having all processed stuff. That's the excuse-ism that comes in.
No.
Right. Here's another great example we had down is during COVID. So how many of you pre-COVID were kind of plugging along, feeling like you were doing the healthy things and you had plenty of fresh vegetables in your home and fruits and stuff? And then COVID changed things, changed our circumstances, and we weren't going to the grocery store as often, maybe. One of the women we coached around this was this very thing, like, I'm going less frequently to the store, so my fresh vegetables are running out. And so she was having a lot of turmoil. And again, it's that perfectionism idea. And it's like, I know I should be eating this way, but my literal circumstances don't allow me to. And that's when how many of us, because our circumstances changed with COVID and it couldn't be the ideals we expected, we're just like, forget it, I'll just deal with this on the other side. And we just went completely unconscious. And so I shared kind of the coaching we did around that was, okay, when they run out and you're not going to go to the store, you still stay conscious. That means if you're eating chicken nuggets alongside your kids and whatever things you have available to you that may not fit the ideal that you have for yourself, you still stay conscious with it. And our definition of that is eating it when it's truly hunger time, and stop eating it when your body is satisfied. Where again, if we're in the swing, we just turn off the brain, we overeat, we find the things that we can get away with, right? Those foods that you're like, well, since I'm not going to do the ideal, I'm going to do these things.
Right.
And that's where the excuse-ism comes in, and we lost all consciousness. Like we didn't do anything that served us
Right.
and helped us.
Well, and it's easy to say it's not my fault. I mean, it wasn't available for me, so
Yeah.
I'm just going to do this, or I'm not home, so I don't have access, or I'm eating at somebody else's house, so it's impossible. I just had that conversation with somebody the other day. I better not say who, because this person probably watches. It was a family member,
Mhm.
and they said, well, she's having some health issues. And I said, oh my gosh, please don't let me elbow me if I'm about to say her name. She said, well, maybe if we cleaned up just a little bit, got rid of some of these foods that are causing inflammation. She said, yeah, but I always go over to people's houses to eat and I don't want to be rude. Well, this particular person, this is so funny. She doesn't drink alcohol. So I said, okay, but would you feel rude if they offered you a glass of wine and you said no, or would you drink it to not be rude? And she started laughing. I go, it's the same thing. You can take
Right.
care of you. But anyway, I had to
Right.
throw that in because sometimes you think it's going to be hard. You can still go to people's houses and still stay conscious.
Yeah.
And still eat the food they have available, unless it's morally something you don't want to,
Right.
or whatever reason, right?
Yes. So the message here is to watch. There's two ways you can approach this. Pay attention to the perfectionism you have around things. Unless my schedule is like this, unless the foods I'm eating look like this, when you have those perfectionism ideas, you're going to actually sabotage yourself, because at some point you're going to break on that and you're not going to be able to live up to that ideal. And then you're just going to swing to the side where you just completely turn off and the excuses come in. So that's
Right.
one angle. The other is when you notice yourself making excuses, when you notice yourself saying, well, I'm going to be on a cruise. I'm going to be in this situation, or I don't like all of the vegetables. When you notice yourself making excuses for why you're not doing the things that you know are good for you, stand back and know most likely it's because you have a perfectionistic idea about what you should be doing, and you can work with that. You can take it to how it applies to you. Like Jennifer, okay, just because I don't like fish doesn't mean I'm missing out on good health by doing the things I do like and eating the things I do like and have control over, right? Instead of just throwing everything out the window. So those are kind of two ways that you can be aware of your mind and how it is sabotaging you in that cycle, and you can pull away from it. And you'll notice you're just much more at ease. You don't have this anxiety around what I should be doing, and it's not this way, it's not the healthiest choice I could ever make. And you're just working with your circumstances, and you're still staying conscious and feeling in control.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is you get rid of that mentality of kind of like when people are starting a diet, I've got to go buy all these groceries. I can't start, or I can't start until this is out of my house. And so it just makes it so much easier. You can still be conscious no matter what. Yeah. And there's always options.
Yeah, always another way. Keep it simple. And don't expect perfection. That's the huge thing there.
All right.
Okay.
Be nice to yourself.
See you later.
Yeah.